One of the rules of Bitcoin is that Bitcoin's on a need to know basis. You have to need to know about Bitcoin before you'll open your mind to it. And it's a paradigm shift. And I would refer to it as digital energy. But if you think about it, the first time we figured out how to channel energy in cyberspace, it's just as profound as if you went to somebody in 1800 and said, one day we're going to have this clean, silent electricity, and you're not going to be able to see it or touch it, but it's going to power every single machine in your factory, and it's going to power everything in your house. And you would think, I don't get it, I don't need it. And until someone shows you what it can do, and until you get to the point where you do need it.
Bitcoinzilla stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoinzilla today and enjoy the new edge. Saylor describes his journey from Bitcoin skeptic to maximalist. He explains Bitcoin's value proposition as the engineering of perfectly sound money and why he foresees dramatic long-term price appreciation in Bitcoin.
You're not going to embrace a new form of energy. So MicroStrategy didn't really need Bitcoin until 2020. And then during the COVID lockdown crisis, we realized that all of our capital was kind of a melting ice cube. We had a lot of money that was generating 0% interest, losing 15 to 20% of its value a year. So we had a need to know. And then we started thinking, maybe there's something else we can invest this money in. And we discovered Bitcoin, which I think is digital capital. I mean, the most powerful application of digital energy is capital. So we needed it, we found it, we embraced it, and we've become the largest public holder of Bitcoin. You know what I say is everybody's against Bitcoin before they're for it. And your first reaction is always to be skeptical. And after an hour, you're not quite sure, but after 10 hours, you think maybe there's an asset there, but you don't know how you feel about it. And after about 100 hours, you start thinking, this is like a digital monetary network. This is like Facebook for money. And so I would say I started skeptical, and then because I had a need to figure it out, I became a believer.
Donald Trump's chances of winning the presidential election, combined with historically bullish market conditions, could be the perfect storm of price action that could push Bitcoin to an all-time high next month. Analysts from crypto exchange Bitfinex said, the convergence of election uncertainty, the Trump trade narrative, and favorable Q4 seasonality create a perfect storm for Bitcoin, promising an exciting period ahead regardless of noisy price movements heading into the election in 2 weeks' time. In an October 28 market report, Bitfinex analysts said that despite Bitcoin seeing outsized volatility from geopolitical unrest in the Middle East and other macroeconomic issues in the U.S., the anticipation of a potential Trump victory in the November 5 election has seen its price rebound sharply. At the time of publication, Bitcoin was changing hands for $71,086, up 4.9% in the last 24 hours, per CoinGecko data, the highest in nearly 5 months. At current prices, Bitcoin is only a 3.4% move away from reclaiming its all-time high of $73,700, which it notched in March this year. Explaining Bitcoin's recent strength, analysts noted an intensifying Trump trade narrative, saying the correlation between upward priced action for the crypto market and a Trump victory on November 5 had increased significantly. Trump currently leads Kamala Harris by a margin of 30% on the decentralized betting platform Polymarket, while Harris leads Trump by 1.5% in the national polls, according to 583 polling data. Bitcoin's upward move has come amid record open interest, reaching an all-time high of $41.7 billion on October 29, reflecting a massive appetite for leveraged exposure to the asset, per CoinGlass data. Bitfinex analysts also noted a steady buildup in call options on BTC for late December. Combined with record open interest, they said the market is showing signs of positioning for a post-election surge that could propel Bitcoin beyond its all-time high of $73,800 following the election.
Well, so first of all, what Satoshi discovered was how I send something of value between two different individuals without a trusted intermediary. So that's known as solving the double spend problem. But if I want to send $1 million from me to you without a bank, Satoshi solved that. But inadvertently, when Satoshi solved that problem, Satoshi figured out not just how to send $1 million from New York to Tokyo without an intermediary, but how to send $1 million forward in time 30 years without an intermediary. If you can transfer something without an intermediary, then you can store something without an intermediary. So the killer app of Bitcoin is the store of value in cyberspace. And what's that worth? There's about $900 trillion worth of wealth in the world, and about half of it is used for its utility value. People buy assets for their utility. They buy houses and buildings and boats and planes and pieces of art because they want to use them, look at them. But the other half of that wealth is assets that are purchased as a long-term capital investment or as a store of value. So $450 trillion of the world is long-term capital. And so if I take you and I drop you in Africa and I say, here, take $100 million, buy anything you want anywhere in Africa, but you got to keep it for 30 years. And, then I say, or you could have the same $100 million invested in the U.S. Most people would say, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to keep the money in the U.S. There's nothing I want in Africa that's as valuable as property in the U.S. But what if you can't have property in the U.S.? Then what if your choice is I can have $100 million worth of Bitcoin in cyberspace? Like I can have $100 million worth of digital property, or I can have $100 million worth of land in any country in Africa, or any building or any company or any bond or any currency in Africa. And the answer, when you think about it, is there's nothing you want in Africa that's better than having digital property in cyberspace. And there's certainly no place where you're going to trust your money or your assets for 30 years, much less 100 years, much less 1,000 years. So when you start to ask the question, where do the 8 billion people on the planet and where do the 300 million corporations on the planet, where are they going to store their capital if they don't have recourse to the United States and, property on the Upper East Side? The conclusion you come to is I'm going to put my money in cyberspace. And so Bitcoin's real use is it's digital property in cyberspace. It is cyber Manhattan. It is a place where you can store your capital and give it to your great-grandchildren. And you know that you're not going to be taking risk against a bank as a counterparty or another company or country or currency or culture. When you don't want to take risk, when you don't want to make an investment, when you don't want to bet on the direction of the commodities market, when you just want to store some money for 100 years and forget about it, well, you put it in the safest bank of the universe.
Bitcoin's performance on October 28 has sparked optimism among analysts who are now making predictions as to how high BTC price can go during the cycle. Veteran trader Peter Brandt says that BTC's price action presented 3 scenarios based on 2 chart patterns, a 5-month inverted expanding triangle and a historical pattern based on Bitcoin halvings. The first one involved a measured move from the triangle with the target set at $94,000. The second scenario involved a swing target determined by projecting the November 2022 low to March 2024 high upward from the August 5 low, as shown in the chart below. This places BTC's price target just below $235,000. Brand also presented a beautiful symmetry of past BTC bull market cycles, projecting the bull market cycle high to occur in late August 2025 or early September 2025, setting the peak in the $130,000 to $15,000 range. The X on the chart marks the probably high date and price level. Meanwhile, pseudonymous analyst Tom said that a $150,000 price target was perfectly possible for Bitcoin according to their Pi cycle analysis. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Seller. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. I do not know why you have not subscribed yet. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.